I'm Taryn Hoskin, and this is Wesley, and today we're going to be teaching you a couple moves for our wrestling theory class. All right, today we're going to be teaching the inside single leg from a high crotch. So, tie up, and I'm going to throw this arm here over my head as I shoot for the high crotch. Shoot in, grab the leg, and I push it up, right? So, I got the leg here, and I have this grip underneath his knee. I'm going to put my head on his thigh. And as I do that, I'm going to pressure into his thigh, and I'm going to turn so he falls. I'm going to turn this way. So, got it? And I run down, cover the body. That's important. Cover the body, and that is the single leg takedown. Okay, so the counter to the move I just taught, we call the whizzer. So he's going to go ahead and shoot on me. And what I do, we have to back up. All right, we're going to from here. Yeah, okay, I don't have to start if I'm just cut it. All right, so we're doing the counter for the move I just did. I call it the whizzer. So he's going to shoot. And when I get this, he has me here, right? I take this arm, and I'm going to dig into his arm here. I'm going to hook underneath it, so he has, so like here, so he has not as much pressure. I'm going to turn away from him. I'm going to pressure it away, right? As I pressure away, I'm going to kick out with my leg to try and get my leg free. It's just one simple move. Just boom. And I get away, have separation, I can defend myself. Now I'm going to teach you the outside single leg takedown. I prefer the sweep single, so that's what I'm going to be teaching you today. So this also starts from a tie up. And I'm going to take his arm, and I'm going to make him circle towards me. I want him to circle towards my lead leg, whichever leg that is for you. So I pull. As I do that, he firmly plants his foot, which puts him a little bit off. And I'm going to throw this arm over me again. Throw it, and I sweep. And I kind of get his knee, and I get his ankle as well. So I'm going to push into him and pull up the leg. Push, pull up the leg, right? So then from here, I'm going to grab his head here, and I'm going to pull him away, and I'm going to trip his leg. So it's going to look like this. Just boom, and I cover, and make sure I cover again so I can keep him down. All right, now I'm going to teach the counter to the move I just taught you, the outside single leg. So he's going to shoot in, and the best thing to do is push down on his head as I pull the leg away that he was shooting on. And so, if we're to do this really slow, he shoots, I push, and I get my leg away. It's like a sprawl, and eventually you probably will have to put all your weight on him to make sure he doesn't get the move. Once he gets it up, it's fairly hard to defend. So what you can do is just try and push away. Push away, maybe kick down, because then he doesn't have as much leverage against you. All right, so I'm going to be teaching you also a breakdown. I do it from a referee position and from the top. So he's going to be down for us. And so I cover, just like normal. I come here. And so as soon as the whistle blows, that's really important. As soon as it blows, I catch him off guard. I start here, and I rotate down. I slide down, I guess. I get my shoulder into his hip. So right here, right? I get my shoulder into his hip. I'll take both of my hands. I catch his knee. I catch his ankle. And I push, and he's over. It's a very simple move. I like it. It's very basic. And so if I were to go full speed, this is what it looks like. And then you go from a move from there. All right, so now I'm going to teach the stand-up. It's pretty basic, and it's something you need to know. So obviously, you're going to start down. You got to stand up from somewhere. Get into your referee position. So I'm going to do it first without him. What I'm going to do is, if he's covering this side, I want to stand up with my inside leg. And so when I stand up, I also want to turn my body and my arm away from him. That way it's harder for him to grab me. And you want to do it pretty quick so he can't just grab you really fast. So it's just a quick motion like boom, right? And then when you get there, you pivot up and you're leaning back into him. And then, I'll show you from here. And then use your hands to kind of peel his hands off your hip. So I'll show you with him on me now. So here you go, like I was saying, he's covering this side. So I want to make sure I stand up with my inside leg. And I'm going to turn that way to try and get his arm off my arm. So it's just a quick boom, right? So now, when I get here, I'm going to push back into him. Because then it's harder for him to push me over, right? So I'm going to push back. And most likely he's going to lock his hands. Most people do. I'll turn. So instead of just breaking it here, I can make it easier on myself if I put it on my hip. I'm going to take my thumbs, as you see here. I'm going to dig them in here, underneath his hand to my hip, so right there. I'm going to grab and I'm going to peel his hands. I'm going to roll them off my hip, right? I'm going to keep one hand and I'm going to turn into him. That's all right, so now I want to teach you one of my favorite moves. This is a cradle from them trying to stand up. This is a move that works really well on people that don't necessarily know a whole lot, or if they make a mistake. So this is kind of a spur of the moment move, but I love it. So you start top, and he goes to stand up with his leg. So I like to think of it as there's like a little hole behind his leg here, a little opening. And so what you do is you crash into that hole as hard as you can. And you'll take this hand, you keep it on his neck here, on his shoulder, and I bring this hand, and I go underneath this hole right here. And I'm going to crash down hard, and I'm going to bring his head to his leg, because we all know it's really hard to bring the leg to the head, because he's got a lot more muscle in his thigh. So, he's up, he stands up, right, and I crash, and I bring my whole entire body into that hole. I bring both of my legs in, I crash hard, and then what I do is I'm going to push into him to get him onto his back. Push, and then for a little extra measure, I'm going to put my bottom knee into his rib cage, and I'm going to pull him onto my knee, and it'll hurt just a little bit more, which might make him give up a little bit easier. So that is the cradle. All right, so now I'm going to teach one of the most basic hitting combinations ever. Everybody just about has heard of it, even if you don't wrestle. This is called the half Nelson. So he's on his belly from whatever I've done. I'm going to put pressure on him with my chest. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on him so he can't move. Right now he's making it real easy on me. He's got his arms up like this, you see? So I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to go through that window, and I'm going to put it on the back of his head, right? And so as I do this, I'm going to have to get down so I can push him over. I'm also going to take my other hand, I'm going to reach for his other wrist. I reach his wrist, I roll it, okay, and I start to push, right? So you don't want to get too excited and just keep pushing. You want to keep slow, and you need to sink down when you get to him to 90. So when you get to this point, I sink, I'm going to take my arm, and I'm going to go further in on his head. That way I have more control of him. I keep pushing, I go slow, and I tee up with him, and I'm going to scoop the head. Normally, they're going to be a little uncomfortable with it. They're going to have a little bit of a hard time to breathe, which is good. It means they're going to give up easier. So you keep all your pressure on them. You keep all the pressure on them, and you stay up on your toes to make sure you got your weight on them. And that is the simple half Nelson. All right, so now I'm going to teach you how to escape from a leg right. This is very important to know. I wish I would have learned this a little bit earlier, but this is really key, and it's something I can use a lot, and you can use a lot. So, for the move, he's just going to throw on the leg. Just make it simple on you. And as you can see what a leg right is, he's got my leg hooked, all that good stuff. So, a very easy and simple escape for this is I'm going to drop to my hip that he has his leg hooked in on. I'm going to drop, and I'm going to get away from him. So, I drop. As I drop, I want to extend my leg as much as possible because he still has it hooked right here. I'm going to extend my leg so it's not hooked anymore. I'm going to pin his leg down, and I'm going to turn out as quick as I can, kind of like a switch. And turn out, and there you go. I'm out from the leg right. Sometimes it takes a lot of effort. You might have to switch back and forth between hips before he's finally off balance. But if you go hard at it and you have the determination, you'll get out. All right, so now I'm going to teach you how you can get into a leg ride. Because obviously you're not going to just jump up and throw your leg in. It's going to get you in a lot of trouble. So, how to get into a leg ride is from something called a hip tilt. It's fairly simple. You just got to do it right. So, I'm starting on top, like this. And what I'm going to want to do is I want both of my legs to be on one side of his body. So I'm going to take my leg that's behind him, so right now it's my left leg, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to put my foot underneath his right ankle. You know, a lot of times they give you a little bit of space to put it in. So I take it, put it into his right ankle. I'm going to hug his hips. I'm going to hug him hard so he doesn't have any separation and I don't just give him an escape. I hug it. I kind of go for a spiral. I go for his neck and I go for his knee. And I'm going to turn away from him. And I'm going to keep his knee with me. So here, I just kind of go over onto my hip and you tilt, obviously. I take my leg, I'm going to hook his leg. And then he's going to push back over. And now I got a leg ride. It's fairly simple. And it's really good to get in that leg ride, which you can do a lot of moves from.